It was my first Kaizen event with a composite decking manufacturer in Florida. Now, Brian was my sponsor, and he picked his number one pain point, which was the packaging end of the line. Jeff was my ops manager. The goal was to balance workloads and require less labor by 30%. You see, what was happening was an employee would be monitoring 5 operating lines. It was my first Kaizen event with a composite decking manufacturer in Florida. Now, Brian, the plant manager, was my sponsor, and he picked the number one pain point, which was the packaging end of the line. Jeff was my ops manager. See, the issue was they needed to balance workloads across the back end of the line so that they could require less labor. Their goal was 30% reduction. Now, due to high turnover in the plant, people were not going to get removed. They were going to be reallocated to other parts of the fabrication line. The issue was these lines ran very slow. There were 24 or 25 in the whole facility, and one technician had to monitor 4 lines at a time. Now, what happened was things went very slowly until the moment that the full pallet had to be packaged and removed from the line. Then it was much chaos because one line would be serviced while 3 other lines that were being covered was still operating. So this made it really challenging to balance labor at the line. Now, they also performed a quality check every 30 minutes, and this had to be done by taking a full plank all the way to the back of the building to cut a specific length at a chop saw and measure density. Now, after taking a Gemba walk through the facility with my Kaizen team, we chose 3 major areas of improvement. One was the whole packaging process. The second was maintenance and housekeeping of the line. And the third was the quality check issue. Now, the palletization and maintenance areas teams organized things so it would be much easier to have supplies and tools necessary when you had to do work on the line. Now, the quality check team had a different issue. They were trying to figure out, how do we get this plank to a chop saw when it's so inconvenient, so dusty, and so dirty? Could we get more chop saws? Could we relocate the chop saw? How do we make that more convenient every 30 minutes? Because you had to step away from the line while the other lines are still running. Well, what I realized was that sub team was having difficulty coming up with a breakthrough answer. But I could see it because I had helped many teams over the years. So I started asking them a series of questions. Hey, what do you do every 30 minutes? Oh, we have to perform a quality check. Well, what do you have to do in the quality check? Well, we have to cut a 12 1/4 inch piece off this 16-foot plank and measure density. So why do you have to cut a 12 1/4 inch plank? Well, that's the standard length to measure density by a specific formula. Oh, could density be measured on any length, I asked? And then they realized, hey, maybe we don't have to cut a piece off. Maybe, just maybe, if we could measure the actual mass of the plank right at the operating line, measure it precisely, we could get a density calculation. All of a sudden, they realized this was truly the breakthrough answer they'd been looking for. So they created a mobile cart with a weigh scale that I purchased at a local office supply place and attached a tablet to the same cart. Then, instead of taking a plank all the way to the other side of the building and weighing it and cutting it, they could just weigh it right at the line while the line's still running, very safely, very easily, raise the cart to the height of the plank, get the measurement, calculate the density, and not even have to scrap any parts. Well, after sampling a few times, they verified with the quality assurance department that this was okay, and they statistically proved that they were getting a more precise answer on density than had they cut it at a chop saw at 12 1/4 inches. So once they created the cart and sampled at the line, they not only saved time, effort, and resources and less dust in the facility, but they actually saved over $1 million in scrap right then and there.
I hope you enjoyed this story, gained some insight, and learned something you can use. You'll find many more Kaizen stories on my website, www.pi-partners.com. If you'd like help growing your profits through sustained process improvement, scan the QR code on the screen for a free consultation, and let's start our journey together.